gave the thumbs up, Chief.
Can you pass that down to him?
We're all set? Okay. All right, we'll call the March 2nd, today's March 2nd, right? Fire Station Building Committee meeting to order. We do have one committee member remote. Aaron, can you hear us now?
I can.
Can you just say you're here? Oh, can you say you're here, Aaron?
I'll hear. Sorry.
All right. First agenda item, public comment. Donna is just joining us for fun tonight.
Stopped in to pay a bill, and I thought I was gonna go home and sign in and watch everybody Zoom.
All right.
Watch you here.
Anybody on the Zoom call that has any comment?
Don't see any
All right,
hands raised.
seeing no hands, we'll roll into the discussion items. So I'll just go in my order, Ron, unless you want to go in some special order, but update on working group discussions.
Yeah, so we've been having some good meetings, focused primarily on all of the low voltage equipment that's in the building, all of the operational equipment that is in the building, and we're trying to obviously reconcile that with all of the budgets that we carried during feasibility to get a better idea of the soft costs and what's going to be in the GC's contract, which means it's being provided by the contractor, versus what's going to be in the soft costs, which means it's provided by other vendors that the town will hire. So that's been the focus of the working group meetings over the last 2 weeks, and I think we've made some pretty good headway with all of that.
Anybody want to discuss anything on that? Okay. Temporary trailer acquisition follow-up. That's probably you, Steve, right?
Yes, give you an update. I've got the draft of the RFP basically completed. Going through it one last time. Got the prevailing wage rates from the state. Actually got that today. I'm working on the description, the narrative description of the scope of work. Had a few questions for the chief today, just to sort of lock in what we want to put out there as what we're looking for. And then if we really want to push it, we could probably issue an RFP if I advertise for the central, post to the Central Register tomorrow. It could be out for next Wednesday. I might want to go maybe 1 week after that, just to make sure that I've got the scope on on what we're looking for sort of nailed down, and then also have a chance just to go through it with Blythe, because I think there's some excuse me, some forms that I have included that you may not, the town related forms
Great.
that you may not want, or you may want to change.
Okay.
But I think we're not close right now to getting that out in the next week or two.
Okay.
And then, we put it out for 2 weeks, get there. Has to go to DCAM certified contractors in the modular construction. We got the latest list. It's online. There's 3 of them that I've been in contact with already. Get a 2-week turnaround on their price and non-price proposals. Then we'll review them and decide who we want to go with. And I'm putting it out as a purchase price with delivery and setup, and then an alternate price of a monthly rental with delivery, setup, and removal, so that we can have that option if we need it, that it stays.
So that second option, it would be lump sum cost to install, lump sum cost to remove, and then a monthly cost, right?
Correct. I'm asking for a monthly with a
Right.
1-year minimum, so that they have an idea, but it's going to
How
be
long it is,
going to be
right.
longer than that.
Right, right.
I'm contemplating changing that to maybe even say 2, but it shouldn't change what the rate would be. But that gives us the option to decide how we want to go based on the vote.
what would be the benefit of listing 2-year minimum instead of 1-year? I'm just thinking that, I don't know, what if we don't need it for 2 years for some, I know we all think that we probably will, but,
Well, that's why I'm afraid of putting 2-year minimum in, and we release it early, they'll be like, well, wait a minute,
right.
you know,
I'm just wondering, like, you think we'll get a better price on it if we tell them 2 years instead of a year, but,
you know,
I would-
from a business point of view, they know that they've got that trailer in a location for 2 years. Maybe you do.
yeah.
I
probably
don't know,
not
I mean,
worth
it's not like there's a large pool of modular contractors that are DCAM certified. You know, the list is probably 10, and some of those are not this type of modular construction. They're sheds and stuff, but they've got themselves on the DCAM list. So we probably have a good 6 that I can send direct to, and you know, we have to advertise it. We have to go through the paces, but I'm going to be sending the packages to them because, like I said, a number of them I've been in contact on this project, but I've been in contact on previous projects that we put out. So
So it sounds like this RFP, Chief, you've looked at it
excuse me.
already?
This, we've discussed it. I haven't looked at it in detail, but we went over the details of it, and it is, you know, today we were able to talk about it and kind of make sure that what's in the scope of it is what we're looking for, and it is, yeah.
Did you want to look at it, or anybody else on the committee want to take a look at it?
I'll go over the nuts and bolts, the front end.
Yeah, I mean, if I could get a courtesy, I don't know that I'll have any comments on it, but.
Sure.
if
I
could at
can
least-
certainly forward the boilerplate RFP that, you know, it's, I don't know, it's like 24 pages, something like that. Send that over to take a look at, like, while I'm finishing up the narrative scope.
Okay.
I won't send the wage rates, because that's just pages you don't really
And
care about.
send you any comments that we might have.
Yeah,
if any.
yeah, sure.
Okay.
And is their price like an all-in price, including utility hookup and?
I'm including, yes, I'm including whatever they have to do for piers, foundations, tying into the existing, you know, water, septic, electric, the propane, because the heat on the trailer is propane. Everything that's inclusive, so we're not having to separate and get other contractors to do anything.
And then if we purchase it, we'll be responsible for the demo of the piers or whatever it's mounted on at the end of the project?
If we go in that direction, you know, if we purchase it, then they would not come back to remove it or relocate it to somewhere else in the town.
I think you're asking specifically about the foundations that might be
Yeah,
there,
because
right?
eventually the building will be gone, but I don't know if we just turn it into a landscape feature where it was, or what we do with it.
Well, this isn't gonna have a foundation, it's gonna be tied down, right? Or something anchored.
From what I've seen on some of the other ones that I've gotten plans on, it's a combination of both.
Oh, okay.
There's a tie down, but then they have basically a pier and a couple blocks that they support it on.
Yeah, you probably have
So-
to tie it down to something.
Yeah, well, it's
Something
sort
that's
of like,
heavy.
you know, it's the big spike that they just sort of drive into the asphalt or whatever.
Deck posts, like
Yeah.
those small sonotubes.
You know, it'll have to be down to, you know, the frost line, so it'll be like a, you know, sonotube.
Yeah.
here,
And then,
so.
does this include the relocation or whatever we're doing with the current trailer, or is that a separate piece?
And I talked to Matt a little bit about this too. I'm putting it in is that they take that away.
Okay.
And, you know, if at least in this initial go-round, we can, if someone says, hey, let's, you know, move that to DPW or whatever, we have something in there that they're pulling it away. But
Okay.
I'm really saying that you're pulling it away and getting rid of it.
Okay, so we're not keeping it for administrative space, or, okay, all right, good.
No, not on the site itself, no.
Okay.
The, what we're looking at is I'm putting out is roughly 4 to 5 bedrooms, an office, a locker area, the day room, kitchen, dining, 2 to 3 bathrooms, you know, full shower, washer dryer area. and ADA
Norfolk paramedic.
accessible,
And that's code
just to be
requirements.
safe. Yep. So it'll be, ramp, deck, stair, two egresses. So one will be stairs, but the other one will be a ramp.
And do we need to vote to issue that RFP, or?
No, I don't think
Okay.
so.
Okay. All right,
Probably when we get it, we should vote to award it.
sure.
Right. When we review the results of
Right.
of the proposals.
And do you have any indication of like what the timeline is? Is this a, I mean, I have no idea if this is a 3-month project or a 12-month project.
I'm putting in 16 weeks.
Okay.
And there's a note in sort of the boilerplate we use, is that if the proposer believes that it will take longer, that they should let us know in their proposal.
Okay.
If they disagree with the time frame.
Does that include a design phase?
It's, yeah, that's awarding to them, then they do a design, give a set of drawings and, fabricate whatever they have to do or modify what they may already have to fit what we need and transport, set up and connect. So, it's aggressive.
Yeah.
Well, it needs to happen, so.
Okay. Any other questions on the trailer? All right. Commissioning agent RFP and onboarding schedule.
Yes, my office has worked on that. I did get a draft of both the HVAC commissioning and the building envelope commissioning today. I need to go through it, and there's obviously some things that my staff didn't know particular to the project. We did forward what Ron had sent on the information for both the HVAC and the envelope. So I got to go through that draft, and then on the HVAC side, I'm going to touch base with Leah McGovern from Mass Save, because make sure that what we're putting out meets their requirements for the Mass Save program. And then, again, this is something that don't necessarily have to advertise. This would be something that I would send the RFP out to particular commissioning agents, and get proposals back and that we can review. The one question I do have is how do you want to procure this? Do you want to procure this directly to the town? The contract would be between the town and the commissioning agent, or through Vertex? Because there is advantages going through Vertex on
Yeah.
the
Which
procurement.
are?
Well, it's, this is probably a potentially $30,000 to $40,000 contract. So I think that, it eliminates, somewhat of the advertisement end of doing this if it goes through us.
Meaning you're
I
doing
believe-
it for us.
It's sort of a pass-through, yeah.
Right, so we're gonna pay you to do that for us
Yep.
versus us do it and run that paperwork and then pay the bills directly.
I mean, we're involved, we would be involved, if we go to construction, we're involved with the commissioning agent anyways, because we coordinate with them. So, I mean, and you can do it that way, that's fine. We would obviously review the invoices and the progress.
What do most projects do? Which route do they take?
Generally speaking, they just have it go through us.
I mean, there's a small cost to that, that's just the markup, right?
Right, it's just
Yeah.
markup.
And so, is there anything that you would, if it was through us, is there anything you would not do in regards to coordinating the commissioning agent, anything like that?
The only thing that wouldn't be done is the accounting processing at my office. I would review, you would get, if you did it directly to you, they'd invoice you, you'd send me the invoice, or I'd be copied on it, and say, yeah, this is okay to pay, and I do a letter like I do for the other invoices. If it goes through us, it shows up on our invoice to you as being a subconsultant.
I mean, it can be either way. Judith in my office is paying the bills on the project, whatever the ones are coming, she's all set up to do that. But someone does need to review it, and if, when it gets past June, then so we have to figure out who that is.
Yeah. We can go either way, it's fine.
Yeah, I guess my gut, just, I've never personally worked with commissioning agents before, but just any consultant, I would think, just from a liability perspective, it's better to have it under the design team or the OPM rather than the town directly. That's my
So
gut.
the contract will be between
I agree with
Vertex
that, yeah.
and them?
The commissioning agent,
Without
right.
a full-time
And then-
from the town, it's hard to manage it.
Yeah, so I think,
And then what I would do is, we do an amendment to our contract for the commissioning.
right. So let's plan on doing it that way.
Okay.
Would it still be, maybe this is a question for Leah, would it still be an independent third-party commissioning agent if it's run under?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, because
They
it's
they
not-
just can't
absolutely.
be under the
For the
design
design
team
team.
or the contract.
Yeah, it's not Vertex that's doing, if I said, hey, we'll do the commissioning for you, then, it's,
I'm assuming it's
That's on
like
the bubble.
it's like the testing during construction. You can act as our agent to hire them.
yeah,
And then
it'll be this, I'd be asking the same question, so I'd be like, if we're gonna have Fenner or Yankee or, UTS doing the testing, how do you wanna do it? And we would call them, get them on the site, review their invoices, get the reports, make sure everybody, has them. It's just whether they bill you direct or they bill us, and we put it on our invoice.
Yeah.
But
The
if the
third,
design.
yeah, the third-party aspect is that they're not the same engineering company in terms of mechanical, electrical, plumbing for, for hot water. I mean, that's the intent, is that the design team is not commissioning their own. And it's not I don't think it's a requirement on the mass saves, but it is, like, for instance, if, we were doing a lead project, depending on the size, you're required to have a third-party commissioning agent. So,
We wouldn't want to have anybody questioning us that way anyway, so.
right.
And it's exempt from 30B because it's a professional service, engineer? The state procurement requirements, I'm assuming it's one of the exemptions because it's a professional service,
Yeah, it's a
like an
consultant.
engineer.
It's a consultant under the OPM, so there's no.
Doesn't
procurement.
matter if it's under the OPM, it's just, I think it matters that what type of service it is.
It's design services.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
engineering.
Professional
It's
services.
engineering,
Yep.
professional
All right,
services.
just wanting to make sure.
And they're not supplying any materials.
Right.
Right.
Okay. So, yeah, we'll proceed and put it as an amendment to your contract.
All right, so let's send me that and we'll work through that part of it when we're
Yeah,
ready to do
I
that.
got a little bit more work on that one,
Yep.
but yeah, I'm gonna make sure you have your eyes on it before we send anything out.
Thank you.
Okay. Community meeting schedule update. Oh, that's Ron, or you?
So I reached out to this Council on Aging. They gave us 2 dates in March. Said the best time is right after lunch on a Wednesday. People seem to hang around, so we picked March 23rd, and right now that's Ron and I and probably the chief going. But without having a quorum, we can have one more member if anyone's thinks he might be around and about on a Wednesday afternoon. Join us to take the boards and do a similar review that we just did and talk with folks.
How long do you expect it to last?
1 to 2.
1 to 2, okay.
It might-
So, yeah, we should really only have one more
Yeah,
member.
exactly.
That way we don't-
So if
It's not a
we don't have to
meeting.
nail it down this moment, but if you know you might be around, just let me know and
Yeah,
we'll
That's all right, right
coordinate.
before a working group meeting.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it worked, for a lot of reasons, it worked well.
Yes.
And then I haven't booked the library. I don't know how available the community room is, but I can ask for some dates.
What was our plan? I know at one point we had a schedule when we were roughly planning to do them. I think one with the town, I mean, we obviously didn't have great attendance at the last one, so it probably isn't the worst thing in the world to have one right away, but I'm just thinking if we spread it out and have a little more to present.
But the idea now is that we're going to them.
Yep.
Oh, sure, yeah, the Council on Aging for sure, but I'm talking about if we're doing the next one at the library, maybe it's sometime in design development when we have a little more.
Sure.
Something different to show than what we just showed.
Could do one in
Couple weeks
April,
ago.
could ask the moderator to give a short presentation at town meeting in May.
Yeah, I mean, I assumed I would get up and have a little presentation at town meeting, I don't. that
We
might
could
not
ask
be
to
a
put
bad
the, like,
idea.
the boards in the,
Ron, if
in
you're
the
available,
entryways,
too.
people came in, they could just look at.
Yeah,
If we do a presentation at town meeting, it may be a good idea to say, here are the next two or three meeting dates if you're available. If you want more in-depth information, please attend. Not like these meeting dates, but like
Right.
the community meeting.
Sure?
yeah, I mean, we talked about doing one in June when they have the concerts on the
Mhm.
town hill, so I mean, that would be, town meetings in
May
mid-May.
10th.
May 10th, mid-May, so we'd be a
There's,
month out
we
from
just
that.
booked a lot of things on Town Hill last night at the Select Board's meeting, so I can have Amanda send out what's all happening.
Sure.
We can pick something that's going on, and
Yeah, I mean, if there's one before school ends, that would be best, because then it gets a little dicey, I think.
oh,
after
sure,
that.
there's the Exvale School of Dance, there's recreation stuff, there's
Make sure we
the
just have the things
farmer's
there.
market coming.
Like, what about the summer rec program where the kids go to the fields? Like, what if we just had the boards there each day or a couple of days throughout that? At least to get more exposure. Even if we're not there to answer questions, at least have them present where people are gonna be.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Because that, I know if they do it the same way they've done it the last couple of years, there'll be a lot of kids there. And then the parents will be stopping by, hopefully.
I mean, the town meeting's not a bad idea if we could put together one or two slides. I mean, I'll get up and say a few words like I did last time, but we didn't have anything to show, obviously.
Like I said, we have the boards now, we could put them
Yeah.
somewhere outside of the room that people can look at, and perhaps, let people know, hey, one or two of us will be out there, after the meeting or before the meeting, come stop by and ask us questions. Come look. Do you want me to see if there's an open date in April at the library that we could?
Yeah, I think so. Not school vacation week,
Clearly.
which I don't remember what week that is, but
I think
It's
it's
like
the week
around
of like the
12th.
17th or 18th.
Somewhere in that range.
18th.
eighteenth is, yeah, 18th is a Monday. So it'd either be the last week of April or the middle week of April,
Yep.
so. Okay. And so the Council on Aging meeting are you basically gonna present what we presented at the fire station? Okay,
Yep.
hopefully get some more good questions.
I think because food's involved, there'll be a better
Maybe we should
turnout,
start
maybe?
serving food.
Do we have an idea of their average attendance?
For Wednesday lunches, it's pretty good. I wouldn't be surprised if there's 20 or 30 people there.
The best so far.
Yeah, right. Lock the doors.
It's a fire hazard. It's not a good idea.
Okay. Results of department meeting held on February 9th.
Right, so we sent out some meeting minutes about that meeting, and the biggest thing we talked about was on the electrical side, Peter, the electrical inspector, handed out sort of a handout for us, if you will, a one-pager that basically just talked about some of the things that he had questions about and some of the things that he was looking for in the building. So we're obviously taking all of that into consideration. It has everything to do with the type of service that comes into the building, as well as which codes building falls under. For instance, it's not not a critical operations center. So we just need to make sure that we're clear in our code reviews that say it's not, falling under the COP requirements in the code. And then from a DPW point of view, they talked about the storm drainage, which is what I'm showing here on the screen. So we're gonna send this off to them just as an update, if you will, now that we're done schematic design and this is all being priced. This is the schematic design for the storm drainage. So you can see that it's a little bit smaller than what we had originally thought about in terms of what do we have for underground structures. Still a lot of piping underground that you see here, but in terms of water retention, the idea is to use some bioswales or bioretention areas, if you will, and that's this, and this. And those are a couple of feet deep, so they just kind of look like a sunken area, and they have some grasses that grow in them. And this is a way to deal with the on-site water without paying to put it in underground storage. So it's a combination of the two. The next thing that we talked about was the bylaw, right? So we've met with the planning board a couple times. So we're meeting with the planning board coming up, and this is the plan from the landscape architect that we've put together. And you can see here that this is the required green belt that has the 2 rows of trees, 15 feet and 10 feet off-centered. So one of the questions for the planning board is, do we need to do this if we have some existing trees? So the existing trees, we've done a quasi-survey of the site, so all the hard circles, like those circles there, are existing trees, and all of the little spiky circles, that would be sort of evergreens. The idea is to use a evergreen tree. So the one question is, what do we need to do along the south? And then what do we need to do sort of in this area where you see a lot of hard circles? This hatched area up here, there's no green belt shown because that's the water drainage easement that is eased over to the church. And for that reason, we obviously we're gonna protect that. We're not gonna build anything or plant anything in it. And then we've got a couple of questions about the island. So this is the 2 planting islands within the parking lot itself, according to the bylaw. But as you can see, there's lots of trees around, so we're just wondering if we could use sort of trees outside of that. And so those are the questions going in front of the planning board on Tuesday night. And from the departmental, they also asked where we have snow storage, and we're showing snow storage sort of around the perimeter of the project. And then this area here, this hatched area, is all asphalt. It's just differentiated with some lining or some painting or some kind of differentiation that allows us to use it as snow storage, but also to use it as a location for water training and for training of the trucks. So, and then, one of the things we wanted to point out is we are raising the grades as much as we can around the building, because we did get our geotech report, and the geotech report is pretty much essentially what we thought it would be. If you recall, we talked a little bit earlier on in the project where the blasting that had been done in late 2017, early 2018, well, those tailings were in fact left in place. So right now, the idea is that they got to get dug out and removed, and then fill put back in its place, structural fill. So, the real question is, what's the best economical solution for dealing with this? There's a couple of different options, obviously, right? Dig it out, bring it in. That sounds simple, but is there a better way to sort of dig it out, process it, and put it back in? So you're not purchasing something, you're processing something. And then maybe, not dig out the whole thing, but use geopiers or something along those lines. So anyway, a couple questions that we still need to work out with the structural engineer and the geotech based on that information. But so far, I think the departmental meeting went very, very well. They all got to code review, and they are getting this updated set of documents in the next few days.
So the tailings, so what you're saying is you can't just leave the tailings in place. they
Correct.
would have to be densified somehow, or,
And the concern is settlement over time.
Densify them, unfortunately.
oh, okay.
Yeah. You mean like compacted or, yeah.
Well, I'm assuming that's what the geopiers would do.
Yeah, so the geopiers, you'd kind of build a grid, right? And then dig out 2 foot to 4 foot circles that go down 6 to 8 feet and put structural fill in there. So, you know, that's just we're brainstorming all of this, right? We got the report recently, and, you know, I think everybody on the team is just kind of saying, all right, well, what's the most economical way to address it? So,
Does anyone want a copy of the report to read? I know you do. Confident of that. Anyone else? All right, I'll send.
Sure.
Sure, okay.
I'm interested in all of the things, even though
All
they're
right.
not available.
John, you're gonna get the report. And
And
Aaron.
there's no, I mean, is there any value to the rock? Could we, if we?
yeah,
take
so
it
that's
out,
one
could
of
we
the
sell it?
questions, right? When we work with our
Rock for sale?
Yeah.
Put a sign up.
in working with our cost estimator, you know, the question will be, if somebody were to dig this out and possibly sell it to somebody who would then process it and sell it, you know, what's the value in that versus the value of bringing it back in? Because as Steve pointed out earlier, you know, digging it all out is gonna happen one way or the other, right? So that cost is neutral. And then putting it all back in lifts is gonna be done one way or the other, so that cost is neutral. So what's the incremental cost? It's processing versus purchasing and shipping, or trucking, I should say. You know, or doing something completely different where you don't dig it all out and do something. But I think right now, the recommendation in the report is to dig it out and replace it. So, and that allows you to build on conventional foundations and slab on grade.
And the purpose of raising the building is that you're not getting into anything other than pulling out tailings, you're not,
Exactly.
Blasting or
The whole
chipping
idea
any
right
rock.
now, knock on wood, is that we've raised it for 2 reasons. Number one, it's pretty far from the road, so this allows all the water to drain positively away from the building. And that all of our bottom of footings are at least a foot or 2 above any bedrock, so that we're trying to, best we can, to stay away from more blasting and more drilling.
Ideally, there wouldn't be any, but you're really not gonna know until we start removing the material that,
Right.
is there a knob in there that didn't get blasted? And where is it? Does it impact a footing, or is it under the slab far enough that it doesn't get into the subgrade?
That's a great point, because actually we do know of a knob, which is right there. This is the existing transformer. And when they blasted this out back then, they obviously didn't blast all that close to the transformer. So when that transformer is relocated, there will be some hole ramming or some chipping of that ledge
Yep.
to take that out.
what's that?
It's right in the footing, too.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you happen to recall off the top of your head the maximum, I guess, depth of removal or thickness of structural fill placement if they were to go that route?
I think it varies between 6 and 8 feet, correct?
And that's not the whole building footprint, though.
No.
It's-
It's areas, you know?
Yeah.
So for instance, when we get over to here, in fact, we have a couple of different borings when you get the report that are in this area here, and that's just soils down to about 17 feet. So, you know, it's hard to show you on this map.
Yeah.
Probably should have had the geotech
No, that-
map, but, you know, I think that, you know, there's pretty much a line that kind of does this, right?
Yeah.
So everything over here is kind of a problem, and then everything over here seems to be okay. The other thing that was brought up today was the conditions of the septic tanks underneath the ground. When the new septic was put in, Matt believes that those septic tanks might be from the original building or the addition. Basically, they're old. So one thing we talked about was just bringing in a septic company who could just pump the tanks and take a look at it. We'll wait till the spring. But essentially, get in there, take a look at the tanks, and let us know if it makes sense to. You know, we've jumped through a lot of hoops here trying to get the building to fit in, right? So we didn't have to mess with the tanks. But Matt's basically saying, let's make sure that we don't do all of this and then replace the tanks anyway. So we'll get a septic company to take a look at that.
Does it need those tanks, or are they still connected?
Yeah, so those tanks will remain in place, and in fact, our new building will connect to them as well, because those are the tanks that service the,
Extractors and the
the leach field.
Leaks, yeah.
So,
And then maybe you mentioned this as part of the bullet, I missed it, but I saw a special permit application has been submitted. Is that gonna be discussed at this planning meeting?
we are gonna just touch base with Rich during the meeting and just say we did send in the zoning application for a special permit, which I believe we may have filled out correctly, but we'll find out. And then the other question is, is the zoning board charging the town to review it? And Rich has already confirmed at our last meeting that all of the planning board special permits are done during the planning review. So there's no, it's all part of the plan review process where they review and either grant or deny a special permit request.
And what's the timing of that, I'm assuming that there might be multiple of those meetings, but what's the target for the first one?
So, well, the real meetings are at the end of May.
Yep.
So at the end of May, we're gonna be submitting all of the completed site documents for permit application. So I would say that first meeting is probably sometime in June, either the end of May or June. But we can, I think we sent it out a while ago, but I can't remember what the date was. So we'll just.
But enough
forward
time
again.
that they should hopefully be in place by the time we're getting to.
Well, they're gonna, that's just it. We don't get the special permit. We get that as part of the official review.
Gotcha.
Right, so when we submit everything in May, that's when they're gonna look at the entire plan itself,
Right.
as well as the request special permit. It's all one process. We are in the process right now of scheduling a meeting in April with the design review board. And then I think the zoning board, we are trying to get, as I said, I think tomorrow night, or next week, we're gonna ask the planning board, did we fill out everything right for the zoning application? If so, when's the earliest meeting we can get on there? Because
They're
I
not,
think,
planning isn't scheduling the zoning board meeting.
no, I know, I just wanted Rich to
Yeah.
take a look at the
Oh, okay.
application. And if he says, yeah, it's correct, we'll send it into the zoning board to get on their meeting, because I think the drawings are close enough to where they need to be for us to be submitting for this, this permit. If they require 100% complete documents, we'll just wait till the end of June, start the process then. But the important thing is to know whether or not what we're doing, and zoning has to do with this setback here. So we're going from 50 feet to 30 feet in terms of the setback. And if that's allowed by zoning, if that special permit is allowed by zoning, then we're good. I think if the zoning comes back and denies that special permit request, then this sort of access way and parking for the staff will go away, and we're gonna just park on the other side of the building, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that was kind of the nature of my question was, submitting in June. If we have a rough time for when you'll hear back and how that might affect finishing construction documents.
Yeah, and we've already sort of got the backup plan in our pocket, but it's not a good backup plan if you ask the chief.
Sure.
And if you look at the way that the site is used, obviously this, that access drive for employees that are parking up against the side of the building is, it kind of makes a big difference, right? And then you would also have that training area be used from both sides. So it's definitely something that's gonna benefit the town for the life of the building. So we're hoping there'll be a favorable response.
Anything else on department meetings from anyone? No? All right, website update and.
Hey, Kevin, can I jump in before we move on?
Yep.
Related to the planning board update. Not many people show up at the planning board meetings to comment as part of the public. And given the effort that this board has put into this project already and I would say, relative importance of this decision, I might encourage my fellow committee members to show up at the planning board meeting on Tuesday and speak in favor of the project, assuming we are in favor of the project.
Yep, I had it in my notes to put it in my calendar.
I think it's a remote meeting, too.
I was just gonna ask if they're meeting in
Pretty
person
sure I
or if
saw
it's
that it's,
remote.
it's
It's
remote.
100% remote, yeah.
Yeah.
That much easier to show up.
Yep. Okay. Thank you, Erin. Website update, including frequently asked questions.
Yes, so we're in the middle of building out the site map for the new website. And it was helpful to know about the Ashland site. I basically went to that and drew up my site map based on how theirs was organized.
Yeah.
And started, thank you to Ron and Steve for the notes they took at the last meeting. That was what I used to copy paste, I will fully admit. Thank you. What they had pulled together from that, right now it's 2 pages. So we're not ready to launch the new website yet, but we could be ready to put this on our current site, as clunky as it is. It would be helpful if people could get back to me with comments or other questions that you've thought of, and we can I can refine this a little bit more. So when we can put it up, and, you know, if we get a better version, we can replace it in the future.
Yep.
Um,
I thought all the questions were good. I guess if anyone else hasn't had a chance to read them, just read them and let Blythe know if you have any comments.
Yeah.
What is the timeline to get the website up?
Trying to get it done before June 30th. We have a basic design done. It's just a matter of getting everybody to think about their pages and then get everything back to the company so they can build it.
Yep.
But like, I took the Ashland site and they had a section on presentations, so I copied in the link from the presentation we made to the board on the 21st and the one from the community meeting we just had, so that both of those would show up there. I made a documents and information section, and I put the feasibility study there. I built out a section for construction, for photos and progress reports, but we'd hide it until we had stuff to show. So I can send you all what the site would, that page would, well, if you've seen the Ashland page, it would look fairly much like that.
Did that go? I know it went to me. Did that go to everyone?
I think I sent the link out to everybody, but I can do it again.
What about a current conditions section?
There was a current facility, and so, you know, I think there's a video of that, and we can find that and link it in there. You know, want to get it up as soon as possible, but no, I don't have a date for you. It's just a matter of prodding everyone along, all boards and committees and departments, to decide what they want, so we can.
Yeah, I guess in the meantime, is the current website able to put anything like that, frequently asked questions, or?
Oh, I
any
can
of those
put it on the main
presentations?
section of the page,
Yeah.
you know, but it's not gonna, the person who built it left the town a couple of years ago, and we just don't have the internal expertise to modify the page very well.
Yeah.
So, I can get it up there, but it will not be as,
Yeah, because I think I was mentioning to you, if you go on the fire station building committee page, it didn't have the committee members.
it does.
Oh, it does?
If you go, the page is such an old technology that if you look at it on a computer screen, it looks great. Well, it looks fine. If you look at it, try to look at it on that tablet or on a mobile device, you don't see the same stuff.
Okay.
And so part of the problem with it is it's not scalable to anything other than, you know, what's these things in front of me.
Yeah.
And so you get a different experience. Try looking at like the home page from your computer, and then try to look at it in something else, and you'll immediately get what I'm saying. So that's part of the problem. I'm just guessing you looked at it in something different?
I did.
Yeah. I just thought that was a problem. But yeah, it is there now, and I can add the frequently asked questions. If I get, you know, if everyone can get back to me end of the week or weekend, Amanda and I will edit it. She'll put it up there. We'll try to make it look prominent as it is today. We can put the link up to the community meeting we just had from YouTube.
Yeah, I know, I think that's,
But be ready for when we're launching, that we're in a much better place, and it's gonna be a lot easier for staff to use to keep it live.
no, the Ashland one was easy to navigate.
Right.
too. Yeah, so I guess if anybody has comments, otherwise I would say just get it up there.
Will do.
Agreed with everything that was said, and I do have one more recommendation, which is we provide at least one hard copy somewhere for folks that don't use computers.
Sure.
Whether that be on the pin board at Town Hall or on a pin board at the library.
Yep. You can do that.
Okay. That was all the discussion items. I had two quick things I wanted to touch on.
Yeah, me too.
So we're presenting the schematic design at the select board meeting on the 15th. So Aaron, you mentioned you could be there to speak on the committee's behalf. I'm away that day.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I told them last night that we were coming to give them the update, show them where we're at, talked about the updated pricing, and get the green light to go to design development.
I will not be here on the 16th if we're meeting on the 16th.
I have to be at advisory that night. They don't start till 7. But I mean, I can be here to start the meeting, but I'll need to depart to my office to do the budget presentation.
Yeah.
Since
So-
we're meeting with the select board on the
15th.
We
do
could
need
skip
to-
it.
Yeah, we could skip
Or,
that.
I mean, I'm back on Thursday, we could meet on Thursday if people wanted to meet that week, but otherwise I think we just skip it.
Yeah, I think skipping it, you're gonna have all of the financials back before the 15th. And then it'll be reviewed on the 15th, so.
And maybe we can. so-
Thursday's also St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
That's the
Thursday, that's right.
17th.
Well, he's saying, I offered to meet on the
Oh,
Thursday.
good point. Sorry.
What time is the select board meeting?
It's at 7.
7.
That's in March,
Yes,
Yeah,
which is,
2 weeks
2
from,
weeks from
13 days.
yesterday.
and
So-
isn't the planning board meeting?
No,
That's the week before
That's
the
next-
8th.
Yeah,
That's the 8th,
they meet in alternate weeks.
sorry.
And that's
Okay.
also at 7?
Yes,
Board? Okay.
That's all remote.
That one's remote, select board's in person.
yep.
Yeah.
So if you've got a presentation you're gonna wanna make, ideally, I can have it next Thursday
Mhm.
to put it in their packets,
Yep.
post it on the website, all that good stuff.
Right. It'll be similar to the boards that we presented to the community. And then with a budget update.
Yep, awesome.
So is there gonna be a schematic design package that we get either before that meeting or after, and then we can discuss it at our next?
Yes,
Committee
I
meeting.
believe that was sent out to everybody yesterday.
Yeah, I think I got it yesterday.
No, I did not.
I didn't send it to anyone because I didn't have a chance to open it. It was
Okay.
lots of drawings and,
It is. It is.
Okay.
It's lots of stuff.
It's a lot of
Um,
stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I went, ugh.
I'd be happy to forward it to.
I just didn't realize I would need to send that to the committee, so.
Well, it's exactly what Blythe just described. It's a lot of drawings. And there's a lot of pages of a outline specification. And we can just send everybody the link if you want to download it.
Yeah, I mean, especially if we're not meeting on the 16th, it gives
Right.
us 4 weeks to flip
No, I'll
through
send it tomorrow morning. I just
Okay.
didn't realize it needed to go further than my inbox.
Lots of information coming to us.
On
Geotech
that
report.
note,
I don't have, I just sent the 4 of you the Geotech. I don't seem to have your address correctly in my phone, so I'll send that to you in the morning, Justin.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. You should have it already. You reading it?
No, not yet.
You were saying something, Aaron?
Yeah, picking up on the meetings and the schematic design package, I think it would be beneficial to send the schematic design package to the design review board.
Okay.
And Blythe, I don't know, I guess I make this a question, but it might be wise to invite the design review board to the planning board meeting on the 8th, just as an informational session.
Okay. I'll talk to Betsy and Rich about that tomorrow.
So Aaron, are you thinking that we could send the site plans and the building renderings, or are you looking for floor plans as well? for the design review board?
I would send more at this point.
Okay.
I think it'll help explain why we're doing what we're doing.
I'm just wondering, because the drawing package does include all of the mechanical diagrams, electrical. So
I think you could stick to architectural.
Okay.
If the others are asked for, I think you could skip to architectural, and if other information, you could maybe list the other information that's there, and if it's needed, they'll ask for it.
Okay.
We don't usually.
Okay.
When do you expect to have the actual budget estimate back from the,
About a week and a half. Yep. Probably the, Thursday or Friday before the select board meeting.
okay,
And we'd be happy to, once we get it back, once we send it to everybody, maybe we want to meet, over Zoom or something to, just to review it.
we'll just have to plan it, because I'll have to
Yeah, we
schedule a
just have to
meeting.
plan it, so I was just kind of thinking, if that makes sense, but, the other thing is, we could send a summary to you after we get it, and then you could distribute it to the, because the reality is, it really just is a budget update. It's not like the final cost, it's not anything like that, it's basically refining some numbers, from feasibility study to schematic design.
Are you expecting any significant changes?
And I refuse to answer that question. I don't know. Just, again, knock on wood that, I'm just, we're hoping things
Well,
either
maybe-
stay the same or go down.
Maybe site work a little bit, like,
Yep, site work might jump because of that, but we also took a look at, the last two working group meetings at the equipment, and so, some of the soft costs have been refined a little lower, so.
right?
But if there's not like a huge change, I don't think that there's really a reason for us to meet to discuss it.
No, and I think if you're not getting it until late next week, and then the select board meeting's on Tuesday, there's probably not much opportunity to meet.
Right. So, and the other thing is, it's an update, so whatever it is, and we can take a look at it as a group and decide what modifications we want to make, if any, and, and even if it comes in a little bit lower, there's still modifications we're going to want to make, right? Because it's still a design being developed, so.
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna skip the 16th
Yep.
meeting, and we'll just go to, 2 weeks after that's what, the 30th?
Yes.
Yep, okay.
And you'll send us the schematic package to look through, and
Will.
we can talk about anybody's questions then. Okay. That's all I had. You said you had.
I was same thing, I just wanted to talk about the timing of meetings.
Okay. Any other discussion items that anyone wants to bring up? I have a quick one tonight.
Mhm.
That's good.
All right, last agenda item is consider approval of the minutes.
Reviewed the minutes from our last 3 regular meetings, didn't find any errors or comments or anything like that. So I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the minutes from the January 19th, February 2nd, and February 16th regular meetings.
So moved?
Second?
Second. All, yep.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, you can ask for it. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you, Aaron. All right, motion passes.
Mm-hmm, great, thank you.
Anything else before we adjourn?
I think so.
No,
All right, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
All right, can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
aye,
Aye.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.